Psychology was introduced as a distinct and crucial discipline to address human behavior not as random, but as the result of neurological activity in the brain. It emerged to study how thoughts, emotions, and behaviors arise from internal processes, chemical signals, trauma responses, and inherited patterns. Its purpose was to diagnose and treat mental dysfunctions, whether inborn or trauma-induced. And its scope includes disorders such as autism, narcissism, psychopathy, sociopathy, psychosis, schizophrenia, ADHD, bipolar disorder, and emotional complexes like inferiority and superiority. These conditions are traditionally treated as personal afflictions, yet even at the individual level, they remain difficult to manage, both for doctors and for those around the patient. But what if we expanded psychology's lens to diagnose not just individuals, but entire belief systems? What if we treated religion not as sacred doctrine, but as a collective emotional structure shaped by neurological dysfunction? This is not to insult faith, it is to understand it. Faith is not a product of the present. It is inherited, passed down from forefathers, embedded in customs and traditions. Most followers do not choose their beliefs. They are conditioned into them, emotionally imprinted from childhood. These beliefs become fused with identity, safety, and belonging, making them resistant to logic or introspection. Religion, then, becomes a container for psychological disorders, socially validated, emotionally reinforced, and rarely diagnosed. Faith-based behavior often mirrors clinical symptoms. Followers report holy dreams and visions aligned with their beliefs. These are not metaphors. They are experienced as real. Neurologically, they resemble sensory hallucinations. Radical believers exhibit delusional certainty and violent intensity, behavior that mirrors psychotic episodes, especially when harm is justified in the name of faith. Some followers seek opportunities to harm those of other religions, showing no remorse, only ideological justification. This reflects emotional detachment and empathy collapse. Belief in exclusive truth, only our religion is correct, mirrors narcissistic superiority. Contradictory beliefs held simultaneously, fragmented logic, and symbolic delusions reflect schizophrenic patterns. Hyper-religious behavior, compulsive rituals, and impulsive emotional reactions resemble manic or attention deficit traits. Victimhood narratives and chosen people ideologies mirror emotional compensation mechanisms. These patterns are not isolated. They are widespread across faith communities, often embedded in ritual, reinforced by group loyalty, and protected by cultural taboo. Faith is fused with identity. To question it feels like self-erasure. Beliefs are inherited, not chosen. They are embedded through repetition and ritual. Loyalty to faith is rewarded with belonging, protection, and status. Religion is treated as sacred, not symptomatic, so its dysfunctions remain undiagnosed. We treat trauma in individuals but ignore it in tribes. Denial becomes a core psychological mechanism within faith. It is not ignorance, it is emotional defense. Accepting another's truth threatens self-coherence, so denial preserves emotional safety. Certainty feels safe. Ambiguity feels like drowning. Denial clings to the shore. Some truths are too destabilizing. Denial becomes emotional triage. Not now, I can't afford collapse. And denial is socially rewarded. Loyalty is measured by rejection of outsiders. This calls for a radical expansion of psychology. We must move from individual diagnosis to collective emotional mapping. We must treat religion as a psychological structure, not just a moral code. We must recognize that belief can be a symptom, not a virtue. And we must build a framework that helps people see their inherited madness and choose healing. If we can diagnose hate, we can reduce it. If we can decode belief, we can transform it. This is not an attack on religion. It is a call to examine its emotional architecture with the same rigor we apply to individuals. Faith systems mimic psychological disorders. They carry the emotional residue of trauma, fear, and inherited dysfunction. To diagnose them is not to destroy them, it is to offer clarity, healing, and transformation. Hatred often is a psychological and social response to the denial of a dominant group's ideology, and religion makes this very visible. Denial feels like erasure. When a dominant religious group pushes its worldview as absolute truth, disagreement isn't heard as difference of opinion, it's heard as, you are denying our existence, our God, our legitimacy. That creates rage. Identity fusion. For many believers, religion isn't just belief, it's self. So rejecting the ideology feels like rejecting them personally. That triggers hatred as a defense mechanism. Power and control. Dominant groups often use religion to control social order. When others refuse to conform, it threatens that dominance. Hatred becomes a tool of reasserting control, punishing the deniers. Psychological projection. Hatred also projects inner doubt. When a believer encounters denial, it may awaken suppressed uncertainty about their own faith. Rather than face it, they project hostility outward. The denier is evil, not me. Historical pattern. From the Inquisition to ISIS, denial of dominant religious ideology has nearly always been met with hate, often escalating into violence. It's not irrational, but a predictable response of a system protecting itself.